All right. Dynamite Delight. 250. I actually said 200 by accident. That's why I had to do this one twice. Let's make this clear. We got 3 matches here. 3. With a little bit of stuff sprinkled in while this happened. Not much. Let's make this clear. Quality and quantity. I actually said this in the previous video that I fucked up. I messed up. I just botched. But let me give it to you like this. There are 3 ways you can have quality and quantity. You can have bad quality and quantity, too much quality, too much quantity, and great quality and quantity. You can have 3. Now anybody says, how can you have too much quantity and too much quality? Well, see it in business. When you do a business and you're trying to get things done, you really, really want the customer to come to your business and take your product or products. Like in pro wrestling, we as pro wrestling fans want a good product. We want quality. We want quantity. The company has to make sure, whether it's TNA, WWE, AEW, NWA, they got to come up with a formula. A formula when you give matches, storylines, and the amount of matches. It's important to get a good ratio. You can have too much of a good thing. Too much quality or too much quantity. WWE gave us nothing but quantity, or no quantity, or no quality. They gave us none of that. You got AEW right now, which is giving us huge amounts of matches in quantity, but no storylines, no quality storylines, no quality matches to go with the storylines. You got TNA that right now we don't know what they got because they're not really giving us huge amounts of quantity in the matches, and they're not giving us huge amounts of quality. They're giving us some type of quality and some type of quantity, but you don't know if they're going to give you anything as a fan caring about the company and hoping that all this is going on with WWE is going to work and make the quality and quantity of TNA's product get better. What do we have here in AEW 250? You have 3 matches that are supposed to be quality. That's what this is. They decided instead of giving us 10 matches or 9 matches or 8 matches, they gave us 3 straight matches. The first one lasting literally 59 minutes and 58 or 59 seconds. You got a second match, and then you got a third match with a fight and some small segments in between. When I saw that, I was going like, why are you doing it now? Why? Because I didn't know they're going to do only 3 matches. I expected them to do maybe 6 or 7. But to get Will Ospreay and MJF opening the show, I'm going like, no, this is not the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to care about making these... You want to make MJF feel relevant. You want to make sure that Will Ospreay feels relevant. But no. You got it in the beginning of the show. And it's not about the quality of the match. Let's make it clear. Them going out into the weeds with everybody there was good. Seeing Will possibly be hurt. Because at one point, as you see from my thumbnail, you got Samson grabbing his arm and trying to pop his shoulder back into place because he got knocked out of place. You got really good work, even if he was legitimately hurt or he's faking. It doesn't really matter either way. Well, it does matter because I don't want to see Will hurt. I don't. But for the story, it was a great 59-minute story. But here's the thing. What does this really mean for the future? Well, now we have MJF as the international champion who's going up against my boy Pac, who will be the face in this. Pac the Bastard is now a face. Can you actually believe it? Pac is now a face. It's not heel versus heel. This is Pac, the Bastard, who was literally on the very first Dynamite when it first came out against, and Kenny Omega won against him. And where did it lead him? Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, he had to be stuck at home. And then he got the All-Atlantic title that turned into international title. He went and got to Death Triangle, which basically led him to the trios titles, but never anything that was special, substantial, and meant something. He's going to Wembley Stadium. he will be in the international championship title picture at Wembley. It may not be the main title. It's not. But it is at Wembley. Home for Will Ospreay and Pac. Even if it's not exactly where he's from. I think he's from where? Well, I think he's Welsh. I don't remember if he's English or he's Welsh. But I think he's English. So that'll be a great thing for him. So in that respect, you do have something. And we will see after Blood and Guts how far MJF is going to go with the title, because he did win it. Second match, which honestly I was not really into. Mercedes Moné versus a Nia Rose. Now, mind you, Nia's a face at this point. She's actually acting as a face. And I'm not telling you she's doing bad. I'm not telling you she's doing good, but I'm not telling you she's doing bad. We haven't seen enough of her to really see if she can pull it off or not. But you have a Mercedes Moné who literally has never dealt with a Nia Rose before. She hasn't. And it shows. If they had faced each other, well, let me give it to you like this. Mercedes did the best she could with Nia. Nia did the best she could with Mercedes. It's not that they don't have chemistry. They're just not familiar with each other. There are 3 ways in a match a person can really make it work. You got great chemistry, or you're both very great wrestlers, or the story is really good. That will make it mean something. They don't have a story much. Even though Mercedes is now double champion, it's not enough, because you need Baker there, and she was barred from ringside. Then you're going to have to go with the chemistry, which that's what this was about. And they didn't have very good chemistry due to the fact they're not familiar with each other. I'm not going to tell you the match was trash. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. Nia Rose, to me, and I know everyone else has their own opinion, but Nia has always been, generally here, a good, middle-of-the-road wrestler that can, at times, become good, really good, but mainly stays good. That's how she's always been. She's never been great, but she's never been trash. Never. She seemed inexperienced at certain times, and I know she's been almost about, 9 years in the business? That doesn't mean you can't still be sloppy. That doesn't mean you can't still be green to a certain extent, counting on how you've been trained. So with Nia, who's over 10 years now, she shows now. She's at least a good wrestler that can rise to be very good. And then you got Mercedes, who doesn't really wrestle on a constant basis. She just doesn't. At least not in front of Dynamite. Maybe Rampage, but admittedly, the last time I saw Rampage, she wasn't there. She wasn't wrestling unless she's going on... let me take that back. I just got Rampage and Collision mixed up. I don't watch Rampage. If she's been on Rampage, I ain't going to see it. If she's been on Collision and I have watched it, don't see it there either. So she may not be wrestling much. So it doesn't mean she's sloppy. It's just that it would be good if she got more familiar with most of the roster. Doesn't mean she can't wrestle. But it is obvious when you're not used to somebody, no matter how big they are or small, you really do need literally some time in the ring with them. And it kind of shows there. In the end, she did win the match. Did it seem a bit unrealistic? At certain points, yes. She's bigger than Rhea. But she is... How can I say this? Rio didn't feel realistic at all when she wrestled Nia Rose. But when you look at Mercedes, she's a bigger woman. And she does look more believable. But due to the fact that she's a little sloppy in the ring, due to the fact she doesn't wrestle that much, it didn't feel realistic to me personally. It was not trash. It was not garbage. It just felt that way. In the end, when it was all over, Britt was in the crowd. She ran after Mercedes, who was running going, ah! There you go. Final match, Okada versus Swerve. Let me give it to you like this. I know Okada can wrestle. Yes, he can. I've seen him wrestle. And even though people say the guy looks flabby, this is not a guy who wrestles a European or American style of wrestling. He's not going to bulk up, guys. If you say he just looks like he's He's a stick. He needs to bulk up. He doesn't need to bulk up. He's wrestled Japanese style for many years. And as I said before on a previous video, Gump Report, Okada is not going to get bulky unless he gets hurt. And then he starts bulking up to be able to compensate for any injury he gets. He won't do it. He doesn't have to do it. He's going by his work before and his reputation. He doesn't need to do that. He just doesn't. So I don't expect him to ever bulk up. Now, could he? Of course he could. But it doesn't mean he will. Now, of course, the Bucks stopped the match. We got the fight, and it's setting up for Blood and Guts next week. We now have a Darby Allin coming from the rafters like Sting. And hearing Tony Schiavone saying, "It's Darby!" It's not Sting. It didn't work. I'm sorry. To me personally, it did not work. It didn't. I'm sorry. It didn't work for me. This is Darby Allin. He's not Sting. And yes, he worked with Sting. He had been with Sting up into his last match. And I'm glad he had that. But I will still say, 100% Darby Allin has never been a Sting. He's been a Mick Foley. Darby Allin has the style and the attitude, yes, partially of Sting, but he has more of Mick Foley vibes than he has a Sting vibe. I'm sorry. If anybody doesn't agree, I understand that. But to me personally, he feels like a Mick Foley, a Mankind. He feels like he can pull those off, or Cactus Jack. And seeing him come from the rafters did not feel special. It didn't. Particularly Darby's personality doesn't work with that. That's not... Yes, Darby did it because he gained it from Sting. But it doesn't feel like he should have done it. I was expecting him to jump off of the Titantron, then come down from the Raptors. Now, if he jumped from the Titantron, I would expect that from him. That's also similar to a Jeff Hardy. He has some vibes of Jeff, but he's more of a Mick Foley type of wrestler, even if he's small. And seeing him come from the Raptors didn't feel right. Hearing him being called, "It's Darby!" It's not getting him over like that. Doesn't mean he ain't trying. It doesn't mean he didn't look good when he was dealing with Jack Perry, who had his moment afterward. And I'll talk briefly about everything else. But when you see this, and it's going into Blood and Guts next week, it feels like it needed to be done, and it got done. But did I feel excited? No. No, because this is still stemming off of one thing. A storyline that doesn't work because the very person who owns the company came back multiple times when he should never did. He should have stayed home and never get seen, and you could have still had easily Christopher Daniels doing the job. He should have never showed up at all once, and he ruined it. So for me, the match is meaningless. Doesn't mean it won't be good, but it's meaningless. Now, knowing the Bang Bang Gang is going up against the Patriarchy. Okay, they just took their titles away. That was because of what happened a few days ago on Collision. They had to be stripped of the titles, and they got taken because there's no Jay White. Now, they got to face the Patriarchy to get the titles back. So we will see what's going to happen in Collision. I may do a review of it. I've avoided doing reviews of Collision because lately Collision has been nothing but matches, and it hasn't really been fun. It hasn't. Having so many matches, almost no storylines there, and no one to guide it. No TNT champion. No Continental champion. No international champion. It's not anyone's show. And it feels empty. That's the reason why I stopped not stop watching, but stop reviewing it at the moment. If this is going to be good, maybe I will review it next week. This week, not next week. This week, but still. But you get my point. It just feels empty. Now, what did we get when it came to Jack Perry, when he did beating up on Cutler and then going outside after the match? It wasn't bad. Seeing that he beat down Cutler and he doesn't really care. Okay. That shows pretty much Jack Perry is one hell of an evil person, which is good. At least he's going with his story. Do I still care about him? I'm on the fence. It's going to depend on what they're going to do with him as a TNT champion. I just don't know yet. What did I think about Mariah May and her moment? The best moment of the show. Do I believe she's biting off of somebody? Yes, the way she's talking slowly. She's not really copying Tasteless Tony Storm. She's doing someone else. And I will tell you, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. And I am interested in seeing where they're going to go with this at Wembley. So what did we really get here next to having an 8-minute overrun? We got 3 matches with most of the stuff there being okay-ish. I know Okada got all excited going, seeing Mercedes dancing. He's going, whoo, whoo, whoo. Well, I'm not going to lie. If she was dancing for me, I'd be happy. But she mainly dances for Makashi. If you don't know her actual husband, she'll always dance for him. But seeing that Okada did show a little bit of variation, it was hamming it up. I'm fine with it. Seeing that MJF was really hamming up during his match, well, not hamming, but healing it up really good. I did like it. But did we get quantity or quality? Good. Here, what did we get? Did we get good quality and quantity? Bad quality and quantity? Or too much quality or quantity? Well, we didn't get too much quality or quantity. That just didn't happen. Now, did we get quality or quantity? We got quality. But is this good quality or is this bad quality? Did it lead somewhere? Yes. All 3 matches did have something that led somewhere. Britt Baker with Mercedes. The Blood and Guts match is supposed to happen. And now MJF is the international champion. Hopefully, Will did not actually blow out his shoulder and he needs surgery. Hopefully, he'll be alright. But, is it good quality television? I will tell you from what we've seen in the last 4 months, it is better than what we normally get. So, it's better quality. Doesn't mean it was great quality, but it was better quality. Now, does this mean we're going to keep getting this? I don't know. But this is what I think. Tell me what you guys think below. And please leave a comment. Leave a like if you will. As I always say, leave a like if you will. And your comment. Peace. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment below and I will do my best to answer it. Peace.